Well, welcome everyone to our second game of the day. It's Fnatic versus Team BDS. By the way, that break music.
That was a bop.
That's amazing. Funky. Yeah, we're in a great mood, and hopefully Fnatic and BDS are as well. They each only managed to win one game last week. Before we get into what we had prepared, I love that they show Wunder versus Adam as the matchup. I think we should do like a mini grudge match.
Grudge match!
Yeah, because there's an anecdote, right? Because of scrims.
Yeah.
Can you remind us?
Basically, it's like Wunder is screaming on G2, I believe, against the aerial team that Adam was on, and he wants good practice in his mind. And then Adam, you know, he plays these cocktail champs. They banned them out, that Darius was out and so forth. Then Olaf shows up, and Wunder is thinking to himself, this is pointless practice, and then he locks in Yumi. And then it came all back around. Adam beats him in that best-of-5 qualifying to Worlds, and then he brings that up on PGL, and maybe went a bit too hard on him, but, you know, he came in with fire.
Grudge match.
What you're telling me is this is a
Grudge match!
Yeah, it's a cool hook to go into this matchup. But as we said already, both teams are only able to win one game. So since we have Yamato here, who of course worked very closely with Fnatic, I'd love to pick your brain on, one, the members, of course, of the team that you worked with, because it's a little bit different, right, this time around. How do you think they came out of that week? That at the tail end, luckily, they got that win, but it wasn't all they'd hoped for.
I think when in the day-to-day, in the scrim practice, then sometimes you can feel like the pain and the emotion coming from those losses. But through experience with working with the top side, always when it came to playing the games, no matter what occurred in the scrim practice, no matter what happened in the previous day, they were always professionals. In that turmoil, you know, the biggest challenge, of course, in this new format is that you have to play best of threes. I mean, 3 days in a super week, and then you only have 3 days of practice, and you need to consolidate so quickly. And I think that's where they might find the challenge. What have they cooked up in this limited amount of time, and have they come in with ideas and solutions to their potential problems?
Yeah, and that's why I think like the time before the season actually starts was like so important for a lot of these teams, especially if you could start earlier than other teams, like coming in with the right idea. But of course, these teams didn't get off to a strong start, so they are going to have to make some quick adaptations on the fly. I will say though, Fnatic, after sort of tossing that first game, being able to come back and get the win against Koi is a huge step forward for the squad.
Oh, absolutely. And maybe things weren't as doom and gloom if you look at the teams that they've played, right? It wasn't the easiest schedule. Yamato, I'd love to pick your brain, though, on what do you think success looks like in terms of what the strategies or recipes should be for victory? What do we usually say? The win conditions.
Win conditions, there we go.
Now that they have Rux and Reckless in the bot lane.
Honestly, so far I've seen the good old classic Fnatic mid-game. I think that has been very sharp with Humanoid. I think he's gotten more space to kind of lead that. I think that's very evident in how they play. They move around the map as 5. The main concern, of course, is how are they going to get to that point? Because the early games look very shaky. Rift Herald play looks very bad. Some of the ganks are landing. And at the same time, big question mark towards that bottom side, because they seem to do well when they get those matchups that are less volatile. We saw the Rakan game. We saw, of course, the Ashe Sivir. This only happened because they went very deep into the pool. What happens if they are challenged to pick the Caitlyn? What happens if they're challenged to pick the Heimerdinger, the Yumi, the Lucian? Of course, this is a kind of a problem that a lot of the other teams are dealing with as well, but I want to see what happens if they're forced to play against it, or if there's a situation where they, of course, can't ban it.
Yeah, and speaking of banning it, like literally every game they're banning Heimerdinger, Lucian, Caitlyn. They just do not want to play those bot lane champions. Happy to lock in the Yumi, but
maybe not anymore.
Maybe not anymore, that's true. At least not against G2. They got absolutely slammed in that matchup. But for me, I think, again, and this is coming off of the win against Koi, is it seems like, and this is sort of always true at the start of a season, being able to play the comps that team fight very naturally, right? Very clear engage options. The Sivir for Reckless, obviously a comfort pick for him. But being able to force engagements and sort of walk together as 5. A few of our teams have been a little bit looser in the mid games and not playing together. And when you lock in picks, not like in this draft, but in their draft against Koi, with I think like the Gragas in the top lane too, it just makes team fighting so much simpler.
What I hope to see if Fnatic want to kind of hone their early game and kind of sharpen more weapons, I hope that they figure out more ways for Razork to play together with Humanoid and also with Wunder, because I think this is where they have opportunities to create more advantages, because I believe Wunder and Humanoid are very strong in the lane phase, but a lot of the games have been around consolidating bottom and kind of playing around bottom side. But I think that Fnatic do best if they let Reckless be in the shadow and then come up big in those fights later in the game.
And talk to me about then being up versus BDS and their bot lane, right? With a decent amount of experience, I would say, for sure, kind of mirrored in that regard. Although I don't think we maybe saw everything we wanted to. Where are the possibilities here for BDS?
I think BDS, I think you can see in their macro, in the mid to late game, you can see like hints of what you kind of expect from an ERL team, which is kind of natural considering where they are coming from and how this roster was built. I think that their main strength so far has been, Crowny on the Caitlyn and also Labrov playing the ranged champions. Labrov has always hovered around very high up on the ladder, and I think when the meta is very ranged champion focused, if they can play the Caitlyn Lux, I think this is where they can potentially, have an angle to beat Fnatic. If there's a way, I think it would be through bots. Maybe Adam can create some chaos on the top side with his cocktail champion picks, but the main struggle for BDS will be how they handle the mid to late game, because even in that game against SK, that was very dirty, and that was the win for them.
And I think that's
BDS
almost
Baron.
like the nature of how this team has been playing. Yeah, the Baron definitely problems there. But for me, I think they locked on to the Akali pick in mid lane for Nuke last week. It went pretty well for them. I think in their second game, they lock it in again in game 3. And again, with only having 3 real days of practice week to week, it's very possible that they just like hone in on Akali or Akali-like champions in the mid lane, strong skirmishers, these types of things, which does sort of mean you have to be picking the right fights in the mid game. You have to be looking for roams towards side, potentially fighting in the enemy jungle, in river, things like this.
I think a very important thing for the teams that are fighting to remained in the top 8. I think the meta has been so set for a very long time now due to kind of how the patch have worked out. I think if you want to throw curveballs at these teams, it is very important to become an outlier somehow. I really like what Astralis did in the previous game with throwing the TF on the table, and that's not a champion that potentially the teams have practiced against. This is something that you need to kind of adjust your mind to, and I'm hoping that BDS understand that they're the underdog coming into this. They have a couple of strengths, and if they want to create a situation that becomes more awkward for Fnatic, is to hopefully bring something new to the table. But you mentioned it, in 3 days, very hard to create something fresh and new.
Top.
Olaf, yeah, that's new. No one's ever heard of Adam picking
he played
Olaf
it
top.
last week, actually.
Yeah,
already.
exactly.
He also played in LPL, actually.
But it's the Tilt Wonder, solely. Right?
Hey, maybe we see the Olaf versus Yumi matchup. I don't know. I think that, for me, my concern almost with BDS is I think they will keep playing like these aggressive top lane picks, these sort of like assassin or fighting mid laners as well. And in contrast to Fnatic, who found success playing very simple force fights as 5 team comp, that is not how those champions operate. I think it's much harder to figure out how you're supposed to team fight with them. So it's much more up to Nuke having like a pop-off game where he's able to find a lot of successful fights repeatedly. And that's why I see BDS struggling if they continue going down this route. I don't think it's a very easily repeatable way to succeed.
And just to add as well, I think in that game that they won against SK, they were hovering around Crowny so much, but they were doing it with champions like Akali. They were doing with champions that would rather flank, create pressure through being invisible, but instead, I could even hear the comms through the screen. Just play around me, guys, play around me. I'm going to kill them all, we'll play around. But it's a Caitlyn with
and
a
then
bunch of
another
assassins.
sapling comes in.
Yes. And it was kind of, if they kind of tune into that, I think maybe there's a chance, but I think always, if you're the underdog, be as awkward as possible. Be the southpaw of your league.
I like it. Be as awkward as possible. Maybe with, the things that Fnatic haven't shown yet in the bot lane, or what they seem to be a little bit more unwilling to play. What did you see?
Oh, I was just gonna say, talking about being awkward. I'm like watching Crowny try to drink his water bottle with the microphone on his face.
Yeah, always an awkward one. So maybe we get a soundbite out of Yamato in terms of kind of the new Fnatic and what you kind of think their ceiling or their possibilities are going to be this season.
I think the main thing, I think on paper, I think Upset and Hilly, it's very hard to compete in terms of how they are as individuals and how lethal they are in the bottom side. But I think if there is a new ceiling for them to be found, I think it comes through how their top side operates and if their limits are going to be exceeded in terms of what they did in contrast to the previous year. Can Wunder, Humanoid, and Razork then play better together with the new teammates and maybe add a flair of leadership? Maybe can support more their ideas in the game, and then maybe this is a way forward, because last year a lot of our advantages came through bottom side. We took big leads and we won games early and hard, and we didn't do too much around top side and mid, and this is where I believe Fnatic need to reinvent themselves, because they don't have the same teeth on both.
Yeah, to be a little bit of a meanie, you did that all the time, and then it like didn't pan out as a lot of people would have thought, I think. I think a lot of people saw the potential in this Fnatic lineup last year, right? That was going to go sky high, basically. Do you think there is more potential now then? Because that should be the point of a roster change, right?
I think, always when you look at roster building, Humanoid was at the core of this new rebuild, and they kept the top side. You're hoping that the decision comes from a place that the top side becomes more elevated. The tricky thing about how a season structure is built, for example, for us last year, we were chasing to get into playoffs. We were so close to not get into playoffs. And then we were just fighting in the lower bracket to just stay alive. Then you're going to tune into what works, and this is always going to stagnate growth. The question is, if Fnatic are putting themselves in a situation where their backs are maybe up against the wall, maybe they'll go into those habits of playing what works rather than expanding this idea of maybe playing more through mid, and maybe also putting Wunder in positions to potentially show what he's capable of.
Oh, I love that explanation. We'll have to look at that. If you're wondering why we're not in game yet, we are getting ready for game 2, but League officials are investigating a report from players that some display settings need adjustment. We'll be hitting the roof as soon as players are ready. That's pretty important. Your screen's gotta be good.
Also, I might be completely off base on this, but I think I remember that like Reckless likes to tweak his like visual settings to like really increase the not the brightness, but like the tone of the colors to make the colors
contrast.
themselves. The contrast. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he likes to do that.
I believe it was first Martin, yeah. That oh, they can't see it, so don't tell them. But Lebrov just ran off.
Come back.
Come back, indeed. Anyways, a super interesting perspective. Always been told to come back. Super interesting perspective on Fnatic, and I think that's kind of as much as we can say for now, because we haven't seen that much. Again, that G2 game week 1, super difficult. More of what we want to see: the death ball comps, etc. You can build many of those, but it won't work for every opponent, right? Obviously.
Yes and no. Like, obviously, like, you do have to manage some things. Like, okay, if our bot lane is struggling and you have a G2 situation again, you're just going to get run over. But like, I think this pattern sort of repeats itself. Like, every January in LEC, teams that sort of latch on to like, oh, we like pick for strong team fighting. Like, usually teams aren't as classy, I think, when it comes to closing out the games early on in a season. That's something they have to figure out as time works forward. What you giggling at?
Well, did you see that there was 2 people standing around and Adam was like looking for something and he was like exasperated, and then he was like, oh, he found it, or they found it, hopefully.
They found his Olaf.
Maybe.
No, I just wanted to add, I think in the context of what the meta has been and how since the durability patch and for the last 3 years, the meta has been so Drake-centric.
Yeah.
So often you see those team fights. As long as you get to those points, I feel like Fnatic, in terms of Dragon execution, has been super, super good. In the Vitality game, they had Soul Point, they had Nash. They managed to set up Drake super, super well. Against Koi, the same thing. Always in those Koi team fights, Jin was like, I don't know, picking up mushrooms in the forest, was completely isolated from his team.
That's Timo, not
picking
wrong
up,
guy.
not throwing. But
Don't judge his hobbies, I don't know.
I continue. I try to find the
keep
red
it
thread
rolling.
again. They were very, very good at setting up those Drakes. Of course, they couldn't do so in the G2 game, but I put Fnatic, even though they're 1-2, as the 3rd best performer in week 1 due to the Dragon setup, because I think this is a skill that translates so well throughout the game, because this is such a big part of the game. If they can figure out their early game, which is most of the scrims are focused on that because a lot of them end in 15 minutes, then Fnatic maybe can become better and better. And we'll see.
We'll see.
Can we try something funky?
We can, but the teams are ready.
They
so
are?
let's head over
All
to our
right.
casters.
We want the
ready.
funk.
In game.
In game.
Oh wow, that came across in the face, did it?
Hi everyone.
Hi,
What's up?
how you doing?
How are you doing?
Yeah, I like Friends was good in its time. Since its time, not
Not a fan?
amazing. Not a fan anymore. But I did enjoy it at the time though. Anyway, speaking of Friends,
My favorite joke
Fnatic
is
and
still the
BDS.
whole Joey trying to learn French.
yes, or when he put on all those clothes.
Yeah.
That was very funny as well. Anyway, but into the draft, Fnatic versus BDS. Caitlyn and Ryze banned away already. Will we see the cat caged?
You have 2 cats. That's what you're going to say?
I'm actually thinking of getting a 3rd. It's this gorgeous little Sphinx cat.
Really?
Yeah, but also
Put in a cage, huh?
I
The
already
truth
no, I
comes
wouldn't-
out.
I wouldn't put my cats in a cage. Lucian banned, and there's the cat in a cage.
Oh, you seem pretty excited about this cat in a cage, medic.
Okay,
All right, so
okay.
Joanna taken off the board. Let's have a look. What other direction? Well, I don't think they're going to ban Zeri off the back of this. Maokai, perhaps. Maybe a Syndra.
Lucian,
Oh,
already
okay,
banned.
Maokai. All right, fair enough.
It was the Maokai.
I'm just that good at predictions.
Like the Amazon rainforest, not that many trees in this game. Well, now Fnatic for their first pick. Where are we looking at it? Like there's so many powerful picks.
I'm going to say Ashe.
It is going to be an Ashe.
They could steal away the Heimerdinger BDS here. What I am interested in is you hear the desk talking about it. Heimerdinger is very commonly banned by Fnatic, mainly because when we look at Rux as a player, he's the type of support that prefers the engage style.
Yep.
You know? But we did see him bring out the Ashe last
Very
week.
good Ashe.
So I actually think that Fnatic has no intention of playing the Heimerdinger.
Okay.
I think that they're purely taking the Ashe away to keep the flexibility open.
Yeah.
But I do think that they're actually going to put it in support. And they're going to respond with something different for AD carry. Wouldn't be surprised to see something like a Jhin come out from someone like Reckless. They may even go for the Sivir once again, depending on what the rest of the comp is like.
Yeah, it looks like BDS aligned with your expectations, not picking their support here, not going for that Heimer instead. Varus and the Wukong. Labrov did bring out Heimer support last week. It wasn't the best showing. Level 1 he tried to trade and then failed, and then after that didn't really look for many more trades. Fnatic though here, probably jungle support. You could go jungle mid if you want. Ezreal, Ashe, bit of poke down towards that bottom lane. Ezreal, of course, very self-sufficient as well, means that he can just escape from any possible fights, and Razork can go around the map. So there's the Ezreal. Now Fnatic looking for their third pick.
Probably something like a Vi. They could also go for something like a Viego. Yeah.
You could go for both of those.
You could go for both of those.
I agree.
I wish the jungle meta was a
Zach.
little bit- I mean, I'd be very surprised. Oh yeah, of course. Like, I'm actually a little surprised that they didn't prioritize the jungle here, because then, if you do then ban out things like the Vi and the Viego, you really are pinching the core champion pool that we do see. Of course, Razork did bring out the Kindred last week, something that he is still proficient on. But something that we haven't really seen a lot of is Trundle. I still think Trundle can be pretty good into a lot of these jungle matchups, but whether or not teams still want to go in that direction, yet to be seen. Still though, Cassante, obviously a very strong champion, and Adam, I would say surprisingly, but it's not. He is known for his Olaf, a champion that he's very comfortable on. Of course, Wonder does have some experience. If you were listening to the analyst desk, they were talking about this Adam's Olaf before, how Wonder argued perhaps not the most valuable practice, but well, we're going to have to see how he does against it as he plays
Hope he's
Cassante.
warmed up before today against that Olaf. We're on to the second ban phase. Now, might look towards those mid lanes, jungle bans as well from BDS, the Vi, something that you did pick up on. I think Fnatic will probably want a little bit more engage as well from their jungle, but they could
So
just
far in
say...
the LEC,
Yeah,
there
hit
have
me.
been 7 jungle champions played.
Okay, let me guess. Sedge,
Yeah.
Vi,
Yeah.
Wukong,
Yeah,
Viego,
yeah,
Maokai,
yeah,
Kindred from Razork,
yeah.
and then Yike played Graves that one time.
Graves, yeah, and then that's it. So if you look on your screen, that's 4 of them, of the 7 now gone.
Okay.
And I think BDS could also just ban Viego here if they wanted to. Not that I think Viego is necessarily the strongest here. They might be more afraid of something like a Kindred or a Graves, which is
There's the
exactly what they're
Kindred,
going to do. So now that's 5 of the 7 gone. So the question is now, what direction does Razork want to go with his jungle matchup? Of course, it's not that, well, actually, I say it's not that he doesn't have a deep pool. Last split, he pretty much only played Poppy, Sejuani, and Trundle, and then that was it. And that's nothing against Fnatic or Razork. It was just that's what he played. So we will have to wait and see. Trundle is something I think he could go for, but again, we'll hold our breath for now. Support still needed to come through from BDS, and the Nautilus going to be removed by Fnatic to limit some of that engage potential or follow-up that would pair up nicely with the Wukong. Heimerdinger will be the direction, though, which shouldn't come as that much of a surprise, considering as we have, as you rightly said, seen Labrov go for that champion before.
It also allows Nuke counter pick on R5 here. Means that he knows what he's playing into, both the jungle and the mid matchup. And I mean, I was trying to think if there's any flexibility in this Fnatic draft, and I really don't think there is. I have seen some Ezreal mids in solo queue, but I sincerely doubt. I've also seen an Ashe mid that absolutely destroyed us, but I sincerely doubt that anything like that's going to happen.
I was going to say, I expect something like an Azir. When you have Ezreal, your range tends to be the name of the game, and you can see that Fnatic is playing a little bit more of a distance range.
Number 6.
Yeah.
Number 8.
I think that the problem with Fnatic's comp right now is they are a little bit limited in engage, and it's a very similar issue that Astralis had in the previous game. It's not easy to start fights. You're very reliant on Ashe landing your arrow, potentially Cassante finding a flank, But if you're Fnatic, you always want to be on the objectives first. You want the opposition to come into you. You want to leverage your range. You want to leverage the disengage tools that you have and basically make it difficult for BDS to actually come close. BDS, on the other hand, have a lot of engage tools.
Yeah.
Ideally, they want to find these flanks, but you look at Wukong, you have Heimerdinger ultimate with the grenades potentially, you have Varus ultimate, you have Olaf pressing R and Ghost, and then you have really good teamfight value from Victor. So I'd say overall BDS's comp is a little bit easier to play. It's not the easiest when it comes to face checking. You do have the turrets that can be used to like spot out some wards. Of course, again, walking into this Fnatic comp is very difficult, but in terms of ease of execution, I think BDS have gotten themselves a pretty well-rounded composition that does give them a lot of options. I think in terms of their early game, Shio should try to be active on the map, see if you can get Adam ahead, perhaps on the top side, or maybe want to try and leverage the pressure they should be able to generate on the bot side of the map with a Varus and a Heimerdinger. The main thing that's likely to be quiet is this mid lane matchup. Victor versus Zia, scaling, mages, a lot of poking. Wouldn't be surprised to see Humanoid get that early push, though, off the back of the Azir wave play. So, yeah, nothing too crazy. I would say that we're seeing a lot of meta stuff, as we often do, but very important wins for both sides. They both sit at 1 and 2 at the bottom of the standings right now.
Both of them tied right now. If you can pick up a win here, you can get yourselves up into what would be a group stage position. Fnatic obviously had a very difficult week last week with Vitality, G2, and Koi now trying to start themselves on winning ways. BDS, every game is a mammoth battle for them. They picked up that one win versus SK, but can they do more? Can they take down a veritable titan in comparison? Fnatic versus BDS up next. We baited you guys there for a second. Show the crowd, make it look like it's a pause. It's not. Even in a Fnatic game, we're able to get it going. Sometimes
Dangerous game to play, Medic. Dangerous game to play.
I've cursed us now, haven't I?
I certainly have.
We'll be here until February.
Well, I hope so, because we've still got like 4 weeks left, Medic.
Yeah, but I kind of want to go home in the meantime.
What? What's at home?
League? WoW rates.
There we go.
Reckless has got 6 stacks already on his tier, down towards his bottom side. Hit someone with something.
That's good.
It's fully. It's not fully stacked.
It's
But
not
it's
fully
on its way.
stacked. So
On
the
its way.
line is there, Medic. You have to track that for the whole game
you have
now.
to sing it for us, Freddy. We do have to see.
Oh my god, this is poetic. This is perfect. Chat, get your copy pastas ready. Backstab.
We do have to see a sort of a battle for priority down towards the bottom lane. It looks like BDS invested a little bit more than Fnatic did. You can see Labrov able to get 2 turrets down here already, and Rux and Reckless can push up, but it's quite hard now into the Varus and the Heimerdinger to actually really get any control over this lane. They will clear out the first turret, but the second one does a little bit. Labrov blocks it and takes about 1/3 of his HP for the good.
Do you know?
I don't.
Do you know what the problem? Do you know what the problem with Dracos and Cadril is?
Okay.
Ever since they did that stupid meowing with the Meowkai thing.
That's all you can think about in Meowkai games?
Yeah, but now when I see a Heimerdinger, I just think buzz buzz.
He makes that noise as well when he
does.
when he puts down a turret. If you're not paying attention to it, I keep thinking one of my cats is farting.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I just think Kiki got into the
yeah,
super
but
game.
now
It's
they've
like-
conditioned me to listen to
Yeah.
these random noises. I'm not going to do it every time I place the turret. I'm not going to say
I think you
buzz.
have to.
I'm not doing buzz buzz, no, because then I would just be copying their joke, which I refuse to do.
Oh,
on
true.
principle,
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Adam Wonder trading on the top side. Adam getting the better side of that one. The Undertow does quite a lot of work in the early game, and obviously the lower health the Olaf gets, the stronger he can be throughout the game.
Keep my eyes on the junglers right now. Razork doing a full clear on the top side, looking to get a bit of information. Oh, he's rounding out for a mid lane play.
I like this from Razork.
Shio is
Something.
here, though.
Shio is here in time. Spectral Maw. Nuke needs to get away from the stun, but is locked up. Shio coming in as well as they look for Razork. Does have the flash to try and get away. Shio flashed through it, but couldn't quite get in range. Razork is ticking. The laser dodged with the Spectral Maw. Nuke and Shio now trading back onto Humanoid. Razork escapes with 48 HP.
So the idea from Razork is solid. Force a flash out from Nuke.
Adam.
Oh, the mid lane Adam roam.
It's back!
Well, so the crazy thing about this is he can actually freeze the wave here for his mid laner, but he's No, this is good. This is really good. Yeah, nicely done. Of course, Humanoid will just TP back, but Adam set up the wave very nicely there for Nuke. Will just TP back into lane to be able to catch it. And Shio going to benefit a lot off of what was, overall, a pretty solid idea from Razork. But before I go into it, let's have a look at this. Razork in a bit of danger, getting stunned there.
Rocks and Reckless are on their way.
The smite comes down though. Shio going to walk away with the red buff.
Reckless. Humanoid coming in from the side as well. BDS could be corralled into a choke point here. Shio trying to get away. Humanoid so low. The rain of arrows isn't enough. Reckless has to flash the wall. Crowny not willing to let him get away right now. The Spectral Maw hits Crowny and he will not get enough damage.
What am I watching right now?
The League of Legends, ready? None of this will scale for mid-game.
Wow, okay, so both sides committing so many flashes so early on. Humanoid ends up dying in Fnatic's jungle. Adam, oh, he's popped the ghost. He's chasing after Wonder.
Wonder looking for the Q3 knockup here. Flashes under the tower, tries to bring Adam back, but Adam refuses to continue to play that game.
That wave in a bit of an awkward spot, but overall good trade from Wonder. So like, there's a couple things that we need to break down, and let's have a look at this replay. So again, the initial idea from Razork was to get the flash out from mid, but because of that, because it didn't go the way he wanted, and Shio was able to counter gank, Shio could then start up this evade with the push that they have with the bot lane. So Crowny and Shio show up, and this is where Reckless and Rux are saying, you know what, we can fight this, let's go. Humanoid joins here first, but Razork isn't in the fight, so it's actually just a 3v3. Shio goes invisible with the W, which means that Crowny and Labrov actually have even more damage. Reckless flashes away. Crowny then flashes after him, which then, again, the reason why you're able to get that kill is because you have a numbers advantage effectively. And then the moment that you flash, that numbers advantage turns into a numbers advantage for Fnatic, meaning that you just gave away a kill for free. Reckless will gain a few more stacks on his tier off the back of that, but a serrated Dirk picked up for Crowny, going to give him a lot more power in lane, and level 5 right now for the Varus.
Yeah. You can see Reckless still only level 3, about to tick over 2-4. Razork looking for something up towards the top side of the map here. Shio also got the level advantage in the jungle. Bob putting some extra damage down with the Heimerdinger, and the poke and the prod from this Varus-Heimer combination is very difficult to deal with. Razork, no smite. Shio has his. Yep, thanks for the leash, my dude, as Shio will take away the Krug. And Fnatic, much the worse for wear here. 800 gold behind. 400 of that sits on Crowny down towards the bottom lane, who has a tier of his own. I was trying to think of some lyrics from the song.
Unfortunately, I don't have a line for that.
I feel like there's a good song about like Crowny's Comet somewhere. If he wins a split, you're gonna give him a song?
Okay, a lot of pros now want songs, okay? They're just
Understandably.
they're gonna have to apply, okay? And then there's a medic song that needs to be done, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot, okay?
That one's been coming for a while, though.
Yeah, true. It starts with
Success?
why do you look like Jesus? All this other stuff. Anyway, keep my eyes on Razork right now. He's doing his best to farm, but Shio making his life as difficult as possible. Humanoid doesn't have the cover that he needs. Shio's looking for a play.
Does have the Emperor's Divide and will use it immediately.
Scoop?
I think the good thing about that, like, you get Humanoid's ultimate out when he does just
I
scoop
don't know
Shio back.
why, but that was weirdly cute. It was like a little monkey was just like,
Personal
oh, no,
space.
just put
Personal
you
space,
yeah.
please.
Do you know how like when you go on holiday and the monkey's like trying to steal your wallet and stuff? You just kind of pick him up and you put him over there. That's kind of what I envision.
Shouldn't pick up a monkey, no. That's they'll bite you.
I mean, why? He scooped the monkey.
Oh, he scooped it. Yeah,
Very
that's true, I guess.
Dragon, though, easy setup for BDS here, given that they're going to force Humanoid back to base, and Razork a little too weak, along with the bot lane being forced underneath their tower. We are seeing a lot more earlier Drakes this year, and BDS is going to be the beneficiary this time round.
You saw the Reddit thread as well.
Nice interrupt by Labrov there, able to interrupt the backs of both. This means that Crowny and Labrov can actually push this wave in. Will likely force... Oh, no, Reckless is going to go back anyway. Could be a little bit awkward for him. See, look, you can see Rux is... Oh, TP. Right, forgot about that. Not too much of a problem for him. Should be able to easily catch this wave. But you look down at the bottom of your screen, and you can see small advantages being accrued for BDS all across the board. Adam going to steal away the blue buff as well. Razork, off of a single mid lane gank, his whole jungle pathing has been royally screwed.
Yep.
And you see at the pro level how damaging a single play can be. And again, the whole intent behind that was just to get the flash out from Nuke, but because Shio was in the right place at the right time, they're able to get a lot more of it. Crowny and Labrov leveraging that poke. Razork and Wonder collapsing on Adam, but I don't think they win this. And here comes Shio once again.
Has the Vampire Scepter as well. Razork yet to hit that level 6. Does have Smite up in a few seconds. Shio was on his way, as you say. The Rift Herald, or the Scuttler, perhaps the main target for these teams. The Shio will take that one away, and Razork's going to fall 5 camps behind in the jungle right now.
Adam taunting Wonder. It's very obnoxious to deal with in Olaf in general. The saving grace when playing into this matchup is that he often runs out of mana, because a lot of his damage comes from the spammability of his Q. When he has a blue buff, that becomes less of an issue, which then makes the lane even more obnoxious. So Wonder just kind of has to accept the awkward position that he's in, goes back to base. Should be able to catch this wave though in the top lane as Humanoid continues to keep the push. You can see deep vision being invested from BDS towards the bottom side of the map. That control ward in the tri-bush along with a couple other wards just slightly deeper to get some information. That ward specifically, I should highlight this with the circle. I don't know why I'm not.
Do
this
the
one,
circle.
Is really valuable for spawning at any blast cone wards over the wall, you see. And you can argue the same thing is for that little ward in the bush underneath. But yeah, overall, good vision investment, and BDS bot lane once again shining through. 96 CS for Crowny, absolutely decimating in the 2 versus 2.
Good little window here, though, for Fnatic. They saw that Adam was backing as he pushed in the wave towards the top side. I think Adam actually lost a plate, as in he didn't collect the gold from the plate as well, because he decided to back in case Razork was looking for a gank up towards that top side. Rux also shifted towards the mid lane to help them pick up the Rift Herald. Nuke here very low in the mid lane. Chaos Storm coming down. Nuke able to survive. Humanoid's going to tick. Wonder, going to be able to get in there. Can't quite get in. He's spotted between the 2 towers.
But Nuke should lose this whole wave, and Wonder just gets to be a nuisance. A small advantage. Wonder should be able to get another tower play as well, so Adam going to do the same thing on the top side of the map. A small opportunity that Fnatic was looking for. Doesn't really result in much, but again, BDS continue to build this gold advantage. Overall, very solid early game from BDS.
Incredibly good. 1,500 gold ahead right now. A lot of that sitting on their AD carry as well, and although Adam has had the prio in the top lane, it's very much been push in the wave and then go somewhere else, so he actually hasn't got a sizable advantage in that pure 1v1. Shao continues to use the pressure applied by mid and bot to try and get in here. Razork, though, does have the 6 and has the smite and has the red buff to boot. And meanwhile, in the top lane, Adam and Wonder continue to trade. Adam, very greedy for that plate if he did step forward. We've seen enough people die to a Cassante, knocking them back underneath the tower. Even Adam could fall prey to that.
BDS is looking for something.
I mean, I like this from Shao, because all you're doing is marking Razork as much as possible so that your bot lane can push it. There's nothing there for you on the bottom side as the arrow goes wide. Chain of Corruption is going to land. A lot of damage down, but it's not going to be enough to kill off Rux.
But the
just
damage is being
constant
done.
pressure, yeah.
Yeah, that's the important thing. You're chipping away at the health bars of Fnatic's bot lane, and you're making it easy to secure these plates. And now look, they're forced to go back. Reckless won't have his TP available, and BDS should be able to secure more plates, only creating a bigger gap in terms of the CS. And Razork going to get punished, bullied once again by Shio.
It's actually just really smart, because they know now the Fnatic bot lane's gone, so Shao can step forward and try and apply some more pressure in the jungle. Razork now doesn't have an easy way towards that mid lane. Labrov and Crowny going to be able to pick up another plate down towards the bottom side. That's 4. This one is split. I think the last one went to only Labrov, because he was the only guy attacking the tower at the time.
Just BDS and the side lanes are continuing to largely generate leads off the back of these plates. 3 secured in top, 4 secured in bot. Now, the problem for BDS is that this dragon spawns in about 30 seconds time and they need to reset. The Youmuu's has been picked up for Crowny. Wonder, though, has his eyes on Adam.
Adam has Ragnarok. He's going to try and turn this one around. Wonder, you can go all out, but you can't get the Viking under your tower. Flashes, the chase continues. Wonder cannot escape. Adam brings down the axe, takes the solo kill in the top lane.
And that's the second time we've seen a Cassante get solo killed today. Well played by Adam. But Fnatic now on the offensive. They're going to drop the Herald in mid.
Herald will get a charge in. 3 plates almost as Humanoid. There's the 3rd. Will secure it, but Dragon up. Adam, full tower top lane. Wonder not alive for 7 seconds. No TP on him either. Although Fnatic currently have the prio in the river, have the control over that area. I have to feel like BDS should be able to gain a little bit of control of their own. I don't know, actually. Oh, I was going to have a look at the gold, but that's the first turret of the game, by the way.
And let's just think about how BDS has gotten to this point. They punished a single gank in mid lane, and off the back of that single play, the bot lane was able to snowball ludicrously out of control. Adam in the isolated 1v1 is just dominating Wonder. And BDS have built themselves a 3.5k gold lead, largely off of individual advantages.
Yep.
And that's great to see for a team like BDS, a team that you expect to be at the bottom of the standings, a team that largely upgraded their academy team, well, the ERL team, up to the LEC. And for many players that have not had successful pasts, I would say, in the LEC. Now, of course, they still find themselves at 1 and 2. But to get a win over Fnatic with the length of the season and the importance of every single win would be massive, and BDS right now is in a prime position.
Arrow lands on Labrov. He does have the flash, but Razork's on his way in. The Mega Turret goes down, but Labrov unable to survive. Heartbreaker in by Razork, steals away the soul of the high mid and 2, but he will fall. Reckless diving forward now. Crownie was stunned, he'll flash. Reckless, you got a flash of your own, you're going to chase any further. Decides against it.
So being a 1-for-1 on the bot side of the map, Razork had to commit a lot there to secure that kill onto Labrov. And sure, you can argue, yeah, you got a kill, but in exchange, you gave Crownie one as well, which means that he's only going to continue to get further and further ahead. Adam now moving down the mid.
I think it was just a little bit greedy from the BDS bot lane. They really wanted this plate. They really wanted to take it before the 14-minute mark and the turret plate's falling off. And so they didn't think about the fact that their jungler was backing and the fact that Razork could be in the area and the fact that if Labrov gets hit by an arrow, he's likely to go down.
Well, I still think that Razork had to commit a lot to secure this play, right? So I wouldn't even criticize BDS that much personally. I think that the idea, was fine. Of course, it does still commit a lot of summoner spells. I think the bigger problem for BDS is there wasn't really anything they could trade elsewhere on the map.
I get that.
And I think that arguably there could have been more. But still, a tower ends up going down. K'Sante looking for something on the Nuke.
Arrow. Nuke dashes away from it, but with the flash, Razork on his way. Humanoid in there as well, and Labrov is knocked back. And Fnatic have pounced in the top lane. That's one already. That make it 2 as Labrov will fall. Shale can only stand and watch as Humanoid escapes as well.
What a great play from Fnatic. The flank from Wonder to then use the ultimate to bring Nuke over the wall like that. You know, I know people are a little frustrated with K'Sante right now, but that was cool. That was a really cool play, and then when in conjunction with Humanoid's ultimate, just a really great setup and a play that Fnatic needed to make because the game was very quickly falling out of their hands. And Adam, we talked about cross maps. He's going to get himself another 600 gold. He's sitting on a grand total of 7.5k, 2,500 more than Wonder right now.
And has that level advantage as well. Basically a full level ahead. Crownie puts down the arrow. Razork looking for the chase here, but the Chain of Corruption will stop him. Next big objective for these two teams. In about 2.5 minutes, Rifthold is up there as well, actually, if BDS want to fight around it, but the next Drake you have to feel very much a key point of contention. Labrov once again hit with the arrow, but Shale was waiting! And it's 1 for BDS, make it 2. Razork falls, Humanoid does as well, and the Rifthold will be started by BDS.
Wow, and BDS immediately answer back with 2 kills of their own. Humanoid and Razork effectively face-checked. They thought that they'd found a pick onto Labrov, but the rest of BDS were already in position. A lot of credit needs to be given to Shio and his placement on the map right now. He's been in the right place, the right time more often than not, and he's been able to punish some of these small plays from Fnatic. And while that was an initially good play from Fnatic, immediately the fact that BDS can shut that down, 4k gold is now the lead. A lot of that sitting on top of Adam, but the rest of it sitting on the bot lane. Very strong stuff from BDS across the board.
And as much as it might seem like if BDS win this, it's only a single win. You're only at 2. It's important to remember, we had a look at some of the numbers. In the past, 4 wins was enough to keep you out of the bottom 2 in the LEC at the halfway mark, and 4 wins might be all that BDS need. Picking up a win against Fnatic really accelerates you towards it, especially when you only have 5 games left to pick up the other 2 wins. Fnatic, obviously, looking for that same trajectory, or maybe a few more wins than 4, if they can manage to find some of the form that had them beating Koi last week.
It's the danger, I would say, of the regular season. Teams that need time to ramp up don't get given that time, right? You're going to have to wait until the next split. But BDS, they're not wasting any time. They're accelerating this game, and Adam will be the one to take down his 4th tower of the game. The BDS have set themselves up nicely for the dragon spawning in 40 seconds as well. They need to secure this mid tower. I think they could send Nuke down towards the bot lane, and that's exactly what they're going to do by the looks of it to clear out that wave. It is slow pushing in their favor, so maybe they just want to leave it for the time being, but they have easy access into the river. Adam going to go back, quickly spend his money, pick up the Jack Show.
Protein shake.
Protein shake, yeah.
Apparently that's what they call it in OS. Now I picked it up as well, because it's Jack Show the Protean is the full name of the item, so they call it the protein shake. Did you just agree with me without having any idea?
Yeah, I just assumed because it was bro laugh. You know what I mean?
No.
He's just like, well, he's got to get his...
It's even more sophisticated,
yeah, he's literally just taken down 4 towers, Medic. It's important that you get the protein in so that your muscles recover, right? It's very important for Someone actively working out. Meanwhile, Wonder looking for a flank, does have control of the bot side of the map right now. Fnatic are creating this pincer movement, which is kind of the best way for them to start a fight. Humanoid does have the TP, but it looks like that they're not going to try and contest it right now. They recognize how much weaker they are. Tries to go for a steal. The smite wasn't quite an instant secure, but regardless, BDS will lock that one down. Arrow comes out.
Manages to connect onto Crowny. He does still have the flash and doesn't even need to burn it to get away. Arrow just searching for a target, one of those aim for the stars, because if you miss, you'll end up on the moon, or aim for the, what is it, something? Aim for the sun, aim for the stars. If you end up, if you miss, you'll end up on the moon.
You expect me to understand pop culture references?
It's an idiom, man. It's like if you aim for the stars,
You
even
calling
if you
me an
miss,
idiot?
you'll
Is that what
end
you just
up.
did? Bro, it's uncool.
That is uncool. I'm sorry, man. I'll no longer call you an idiot.
Unbelievable.
I'll be your benefactor in that
Thanks.
regard.
Thank you. There is one thing I do have to do.
Yeah.
Reckless's tier is fully stacked.
Is that line actually in the song?
No, I just added it.
Yeah,
I
okay,
made
nice.
it up.
On the fly, the
the
lyrical
fly, yeah.
genius that is
Yeah.
Betty.
Because I actually forgot the next line. I sing that
I know
song
that you'll
and
come crawling back. And when you're
crawling back. Oh yeah, true, yeah.
Guys, if we keep just reminding you of lyrics, you'll sing more, okay? Yeah, and then there's the
Crowny.
betrayed bit as well. Crowny though, looking for some damage
Oh,
here.
he comes
Razzle's
in.
able to dodge away. Crowny can just step forward. Chain of Corruption was enough to lock Razzle in place. But the Merc Treads were enough to make him escape before the grenade came down. BDS though still 3,000 gold ahead in this game. Crowny at 2 items. Reckless is at the same, no mythic for him yet.
Wow, there's a big collapse here from BDS.
There's
All
no
hands
tower.
on deck. Adam looking for the flank.
Now can Wonder get into
Oh, the blast cone.
this? There's the Azir Sunders coming in. The blast cone helped them out a lot as the Emperor's Divide is used, but Reckless has already fallen. Adam on the backline is just absolutely murdering people, mutilating, shredding them. That man's had his creatine today. Adam just destroys them in a 1v3. Wonder able to escape, but did have to burn the TP, and BDS make a beeline for the Baron.
Wow, look at this play from BDS. They are absolutely slaughtering Fnatic. They just committed 5 members top. They said, we want to go for a fight. Wonder isn't there. Even if it TP's in, it doesn't matter. And they herded them like sheep underneath the Azir tower, but it was not enough to protect them from the wolf that was Adam. Beautiful stuff from BDS. A 20-minute Baron, a 5k gold lead. BDS are looking strong coming into week 2. But look at this, Shio and Adam on the backline. The blast cone making it so easy for Adam to create this flank. The damage then from Nuke as well. Gets the Chaos Storm, the lethality Q from Crowny. Just decimates Reckless. And Wonder tries to buy time on the backline. But Adam in a 1 versus 3 is able to walk away with 2 kills. The sustain is too strong. And Wonder will get away to safety. That's pretty much all she wrote. And a Baron will go into the back pocket of BDS.
And how do you ever escape Adam as a Fnatic backline, right? Reckless can jump away where Adam's ghosting. Rux has no escape whatsoever. The Emperor's Divide isn't going to be as effective on him because he's got that Ragnarok, so just very difficult to escape from him when he is this fed. 3,000 gold ahead. Second highest CS in the game as well. Highest level at 14. And it becomes trickier for Fnatic from here. Sheo's going to meet Razork. Rux trying to put some damage down as well, but Sheo very much wins out on this one with the rockets coming in as well from Labrov.
Especially 2 junglers just basic attack each other.
Slap, 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 slap.
And then rockets just fly in your face. Like, okay, cool, I'll chill, I'll back off. But of course, BDS, they can just keep pressuring now. The 4-1 setup that they have Adam keeping push in mid.
Brownie.
Just get
The Comet connects.
low, and they're going to leave him
Razor's
to
going to be able to
die.
get in and get the shutdown. Wonder coming in as well. Adam's going to try and join his team, but he doesn't have the ghost. He's only got the flash, and now Wonder is on the chase. In a 3v5, can BDS turn it around? Another shutdown, another! Fnatic found a fight down towards the bottom side. Adam was nowhere near it. The Heartbreaker on the chase. Not going to go any further.
Wow, Fnatic. They punish BDS. And it's a massive and much needed punishment. Look at how much gold they got off the back of that. So many shutdowns were handed over to Razork and Wonder. And it's just going to stop BDS in their tracks. And it's just off the back of a single arrow. Good poke damage coming out from the Azir. The Ezreal ultimate combined with the Ashe arrow. There's nothing they can do for Crowny. He's not running the cleanse. There's no way for him to escape. Razork gets that initial pick. And then he's the one that can dish out the damage, gets the resets going. And without Adam here, which is where a lot of the gold is sitting on, it's very difficult for BDS to really convert this into anything else. Really great awareness there from Fnatic to recognize where they could force this fight. And at the very least, they're back in the game.
unenthusiastic Kiva there backstage. Just like, yeah, that's the first step. We've got the first piece of the jigsaw sorted. We still have to fill in the rest. And Fnatic still.
Dragon fight is going to be extremely important.
Chemsoul on a Yuumi is stronger than Olaf. I'm going to say he's slightly stronger.
Well, arguably it's useless because Tenacity didn't do it before.
Yeah, but you do more damage and take less damage under 50% health with the Soul, right? So, Arrow onto Sheo.
Be melted by Fnatic. They're not even going to give
flank.
BDS a window, but BDS is looking for the fight.
Sheo can get in here with the Cyclone. Adam running in as well, but he's already down to half HP. LeBron trying to put some turrets down. Crowning low. Razork dashing forward. Not quite enough damage. But Reckless and Razork able to hold BDS at bay.
Things are starting to crumble a little bit for BDS. Fnatic are an interesting team. Last week, we saw them fall behind very early, and then they bounced back towards the end.
Against Koi.
Yeah, it was against Koi. And it feels like that this Fnatic team, the second that morale suddenly swings into their favor, it's almost like that they all lock in together. You know, they start finding those avenues, finding those small positioning mistakes. At BDS, they can't let that Fnatic take control over the game. They still have the gold lead, they still have the vast majority of the power, and they need to be the ones deciding when the fights are happening. If you give this Fnatic lineup those small windows of opportunity, they will not hesitate to strike. Humanoid is only going to continue to get stronger. You can see he actually has a 1.4k gold lead over his lane opponent. He's been farming very well. 230 CS to the 170 of Nuke. That is incredibly low for a Victor. I imagine a lot of it has just been a matter of grouping up with his team, not being given access to the side lane farm. 2 levels up is Humanoid right now. And things like that can be a difference maker, right?
Yep.
Like Azir in the late game, someone you can't afford to underestimate. Ezreal's poke is only going to get stronger. And again, I stand by the fact that Fnatic's composition doesn't have the best engage, but every successful fight we've seen from Fnatic has been a creative flank or a punishment on BDS trying to set up the scene.
And as soon as Razork gets rolling in a fight, it's very difficult for BDS to disengage after their initial engage, right? You're looking for the Sheo flank, you're looking for a Cyclone, but when you're in, you're in. And there's no real escaping from Fnatic. Now, next up, a minute on this Baron. Fnatic willing to step out a little bit further than they were in the past, buoyed by a few of their recent results as Wonder is spotted. Adam. Arrow misses. They were just trying to get the Ragnarok out of him there. Wonder's still on the chase. They're still looking to use this ultimate if they can. Q3 from Wonder, dodged by Adam, and he keeps hold of his ult. With the Baron up in 50 seconds, Adam will be very happy that he will have that tool at his behest. In the next fight. Disposal is the word I was looking for. Behest is good.
Rare that I help you with the word.
Oh, that's good, man.
I
was the beneficiary there.
That you were. You're never going to let that down, are you?
It's fun.
It's true.
A little bit of joy.
Listen, guys, benefactor just makes sense to me. I feel like that I should be the benefactor.
I mean, you can, but you just have to give people
No,
stuff.
I can't. That annoys me. Stupid English.
It is. It is a stupid language.
Sure, speak Welsh instead.
Go on then.
Croeso.
Croeso. Is that the benefactor or the beneficiary?
Actually means welcome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have no idea what benefactor is in Welsh.
Well, currently the beneficiary. And all the people listening to us talk about this instead of talking about this Baron setup. Now, BDS have set up around it. They've got the vision control. Fnatic reset. Look to gain some control of their own. No control wards in their inventory. And I'm going to say control just a couple more times to make sure that we truly understand that this is about control. Fnatic, though, with the Sun Disc in the mid lane, will get prio. Adam is backing. Arrow goes in. Wonder underneath the tower, looking for the chase here. Adam, just very patient, holds on to his ultimate. Now Sheo on the flank, but Adam's already low HP. Sheo going in, can't quite get the damage down. The second cycle on a ton is enough to kill off Humanoid. Didn't even have time to flash. Now Wonder on the chase as well. BDS looking for a little bit more, but perhaps might just back away and go towards the Baron. However, there's a lot of poke on Fnatic.
Great pitch overall, though, from BDS. The fact that they were able to combine Sheo's ultimate with Crowny, with Adam, all coming together to be able to get that kill onto Humanoids. 30 seconds is how much time Fnatic needs to buy. TP is available on Humanoids, and now the pressure is on as BDS begin the Baron.
So there was a bit of poke, and you can see it coming out just there. BDS actually going to disengage this Baron right now. Adam's still looking for that flank position. Wonder TP'd back into the fight. Knew that his teammates might need his assistance.
So this is a window where Fnatic can actually start this one off because they know that Humanoid is up in 7 seconds. BDS are chipped away, and the goal here isn't actually the Baron, it's to force BDS to come and Fnatic to leverage their range. Humanoid TPing in.
Adam's just going to try and run him down as soon as he comes out, but Rux here with the arrow hits onto Sheo. Adam gets on the chase on towards the backline. Razzle going in as well. The halfback can try and get him away. Labrov fighting down towards the bottom side as Wonder goes low. He's locked up and shut down by Labrov. Chaos Storm ticking away. Humanoid able to escape nuke. Sub 100 HP, 36 I think I see on the scoreboard there. He is able to get out alive and BDS get a kill and stop the Baron from happening.
So you can see the idea there from Fnatic, but I think the TP from Humanoid was just a little too disjointed from the rest of his team. BDS had a good idea, thanks to Adam still having his ultimate available, means that the second that the ultimate came through from Humanoid, he was able to just tank it up and they could force him out of the fight. Razork then commits when the rest of his team can't really join the fray. It ends up being an awkward situation. BDS though, starting off, good awareness there from Nuke, using it to just check the brush, see what's happening.
Sheo, Cyclone! Onto Razork, chain of corruption there for the chase as well, and Razork's already done. Unstoppable goes Adam on the back line as well. Sheo able to pick up Rux. The more shield, not enough. I think that was a comment from Humanoid, just enough damage to pick up the kill, maybe in a Luden's proc actually, as Fnatic are able to cull away the jungler. Reckless dashing, dodging, diving, dipping, weaving. No junglers on either side, but Wonder full HP once again. Chem Soul, an option, flash away from Crowny, but Humanoid in the middle of the gravity well, slowed by the undertow, and his death knell rings true. BDS pick up another one and turn their eyes towards the Chem Soul.
I'm not sure what the logic was there from Humanoid, because at best you knock in 3 members into what a half health Reckless and maybe Wonder, which you can do something with, but Adam is sitting there on the flank. Your best play is to just buy time if you're Fnatic. You should just be trying to chip away at the HP bars, trying to delay BDS from starting this dragon for as long as you possibly can. But let's have a look back to the start of this fight. So again, this brush, BDS have punished Fnatic a few times this game, and they're going to find another punish. Great damage coming out from Crowny onto Rux. Very quickly, Razork is separated from his team, and Sheo gets chipped away at by Reckless. The damage is good. Humanoid able to finish this one off, I think, thanks to the Luden's proc. And it's at this point where Fnatic just need to buy time. They need to wait. You can see Razork going to come up before the opposing jungler. But again, like, Wonder, I guess, is saying, like, maybe we can make a play here, but now he's dived into something that can't really convert. And I feel like that the call here from Fnatic, it just wasn't it. They needed to leverage their range. They needed to try and chip away at BDS, but now they've handed over Assault. This game has become a lot harder now for Fnatic as the Baron becomes the next major objective.
And once again, we'll see that dance happen. Arrow goes out, very short cooldown at this portion of the game. No Umbral Glaive on Rux. Often you do see that on the support Ashe, instead going for the Executioners. Adam trading onto Razork here. Adam low goes with the Ragnarok though, and Rux is chased off by Sheo down towards the bottom side. Meanwhile, Wonder in the midst of 4 members of BDS. Labrov chunked away though by Humanoid. The stun still connects. Humanoid able to dash across the wall. Adam's still chasing in here, but they still only managed to kill off the support. Fnatic walk away wounded, but able to fight back if BDS do start up the Baron.
Razork trying to heal as much health as he can. They want Adam to go back, recover his resources, and then get back out onto the map. But it's just a lot of picks right now, back and forth. BDS are coming out ahead in the vast majority of them. But Fnatic not completely out of this game just yet. You can see Humanoid getting very close to that death cap, and Sheo once again looking for the flank.
The same route he took last time. Crowny trying to keep Razork and Reckless interested. Importantly for Fnatic, a lot easier to heal up when these Honey Fruit are the empowered ones from the Chem Tech Rift. You get extra health and you get a shield from them. Now, the long-range arrow will spot out the fact that BDS have started this. Wonder does have the TP, but no ward to get to, and looks like Fnatic have just given this one up. BDS with the Baron, 32 minutes into the game.
Okay, so BDS find themselves in the same position that they were in earlier, but arguably a lot stronger. Now they need to figure out a way to break into the base of Fnatic, because again, remember, Fnatic's comp loves when you come into it. It can leverage its range, it can leverage its poke, it can chip away at your HP bar, and basically make it very difficult for you to actually siege. So BDS have to find ways of navigating around this, dodging the poke, forcing back Fnatic themselves, and already we can see the 1-4 being set up once again. 4 members on bot, Adam being left in mid. Doesn't have the ghost, doesn't have the flash, but he's not an easy target to just catch out of position.
Deep breaths before the storm, you feel. 3 minutes on the Elder. Fnatic still trying to find a purchase on this game, really. They've had a couple of moments, a couple of shining lights in the dark, but the majority of the time it has been fog all around them. Rudderless, directionless. Now staring down defeat against BDS. We excused week 1 to a degree because they played well. Their Dragon setups were good, as Yamato said on the desk, and they played probably the 3 toughest opponents in the league, but a loss to BDS. Not a good sign for Fnatic. Still only need to make top 8 to make it into the group stage. Arrow wide there, Wonder down to half HP, Razork the same. Adam, though, will lose a chunk of his health as he tries to step forward, but with Ravenous Hydra, will heal up quite a lot.
But they did what they needed to. BDS was able to land the poke. Crowny, Labrov, Nuke, they were able to get the damage down onto the key targets, which gave them access to this bot lane inhibitor. Again, big damage onto Reckless. He's forced back. And BDS were able to dodge away from the initiation from Fnatic and walk away the victors this time round. They're going to go back to base, spend their money, steal away some camps, and then look to continue the siege. They may wait for the Elder Dragon, but it's a dangerous game to play. Death Cap now completed for Humanoid means that he is fully online. His damage is very real and can't afford to be underestimated. Let's see what happens next. Adam already going to make his way up towards top lane, start pushing that one in. He's basically almost at full build. You can see he's currently sitting on the pot.
Yeah, he knows his job in the fights.
Not going to burn it immediately, of course. But yeah, that's the big thing. Reckless, you have 1 dash, you have a flash. Adam doesn't care. He has the tools needed to chase you down. That's exactly what he's going to do. They already started pushing in the top wave. In the mid lane. They're slowly getting the push as the Brav and Shio already join up with Adam, trying to leverage the last bit of the Baron. 15 seconds left. Got a bit of chip damage, and again, look back at mid, and you can see the shift, top to mid to top to mid, splitting Fnatic up and finding windows like this. Good damage from Crowny.
Really, they just want this tower.
Yep.
Tier 2 in the
Well
top
played.
lane.
Very well played from BDS. Nice patient play there.
Baron expires as they get it. Wonder had to spend all his time in that bottom lane pushing out the super minions. It does give Fnatic a little bit of breathing room, a little bit of space before the super minions are back in their base, but BDS doing exactly what they wanted here. Interestingly though, Fnatic do have the vision control in the river right now. BDS will move in and clear this out, but there's always the possibility that a ward is left somewhere, that a TP flank happens. The control ward near the blue buff is one we often see, but is often overlooked by people as they try and clear out any vision. Arrow just wide on Crowny, but they're going to go in with the Spectral Maw. Crowny flashes away. Heals as well. Sheo gets into the back line and Rux is already down. Fnatic now fighting in a 4v5. Razork low. Sheo dashing in with a Cyclone. Humanoid next up on the menu. Nuke takes Wonder. Oh, Wonder takes Nuke all the way across the wall. He has to flash away. Wonder is able to survive, dodges the arrow, dodges everything, but not! You can't dodge these! Adam chases them down! Humanoid up next, no escape from the undertow. Adam with a double. Now in a 1v4, he's looking to make it a triple. Can't quite secure the final couple of kills, but the Elder will be forfeit for Fnatic. Maybe their entire base will lay in ruins.
Fnatic thought that they'd found a pick onto Crowny, but he was able to buy enough time and turn the fight around. Sheo and Nuke shutting down Rux right from the get-go. The Ash Arrow never even came out. Humanoid's ultimate never got activated. And you can see how quickly BDS was there to respond. Labrov offering what he can. Good side set from Crowny. Yes, the commitment came through from Razork, but then he didn't want to commit onto that kill. Thought he'd separated too much, and then the damage. Watch this from Crowny. Half his HP already gone, and that was the window that Shio needed. Razork gets forced out. Humanoid's forced out. Wonder tries to split up the fight as much as he can, but he only gets him closer to Adam. And it's at this point where Adam says, okay, you've had your fun. My turn to clean things up. Humanoid realizes how much danger he's in, and he's not quite able to get away. You can see Adam just tanking all this up. He's not afraid of them, even remotely. Gets that kill, even looks for more. And then they just disengage, and they should be able to secure the Elder off the back of this. BDS have come into week 2 looking good, and they're looking to get a big win over Fnatic.
Even though use the Ember Divide there to keep Sheo away. That Cyclone has been used as well. You can see it's just BDS across the board, out damaging their rivals. Double inhibitors down now. Still a minute. Oh, sorry, single inhibitor down. Still a minute before that one respawns, but BDS trying to make it double, trying to make it triple. They continue to push in. Now, Adam has no flash, no ghost, but does have the Ragnarok. Razork realizes this, puts some damage down. The Ragnarok comes out, the arrow will connect, but only onto the retreating Olaf, and a Viking in retreat is unstoppable, it seems, as Humanoid chipped away once again. The arrows from the Varus in this situation against an Elder are just so damn difficult to deal with, because every time you get hit, gets slowed, and it becomes very tricky for you to ever find a way to approach the fight. Razork steps in. Chain of Corruption's gonna land, and even with the Heartbreaker, he will tick. And be slain by the Elder Drake. Another arrow coming out. Crowny kills off Wonder. Humanoid tries to dash back to safety. Sheo goes golden underneath the Nexus towers, and BDS will be able to wrap this one up, taking the scalp of Fnatic in a massive win for BDS.
An impressive game overall from BDS, a 20-minute Baron, an absolute clinic from the side lanes and top and bot. And it brings them one step closer to that top 8, a much-needed win for them. And to get a win over Fnatic is absolutely monumental. Great stuff from BDS. Yeah. Excited to see what else they can bring out here in week 2. Definitely a team I think people had low expectations of, but Fnatic faltering. I think that they made things difficult with their draft. Like, we saw a very similar draft from Astralis, and they found themselves with very similar issues where it's difficult for them to necessarily find the fights that they want. But I think the biggest difference was so much was lost in the side lane. Adam getting a solo kill in top lane. The 2 versus 2 getting so many advantages. It felt like that Fnatic had just given so much up in the early game that by the time that they were ready to fight, they were already too far behind. And while we saw moments of brilliance from them, that bot lane fight, that top lane play, it wasn't enough. And BDS was able to stay calm, stay cool, stay collected. And it was very different from the BDS of last year, where they could find these leads, but then they would very quickly collapse in the mid game.
Yeah, I think there were a few of those same mid lane foibles from BDS, a few of those mistakes, but as you say, they were able to regroup, reassess, and manage to close it out in the end. And now sitting at 2-2, which is a very strong position for them. Obviously, still only 5 games left for them in the regular season as well, and we're basically halfway. And they can continue this form, get themselves to 4-5, 5-4. Very likely that we see them in the group stage.
We will have to wait and see. Still good number of games to be played out.
Definitely.
Still many opportunities for each of the teams, but you now get to choose your player of the game. So you have to go to @LEC on Twitter.
Yeah,
you can vote for Adam, Sheo, or Crowny. All very viable choices. I have a feeling Adam will be the one to get it.
I'm going to LEC on Twitter.
Okay, great. So @LEC on Twitter is where you can vote, but you need to have a Twitter account, and you need to go to LEC. You can check them out. You can follow them. They make great content every now and then.
You can also just type it in the chat. It means nothing. But you can type it in, and that happens every game.
Everyone
you guys just don't listen. We literally say @LEC on Twitter every time. The vote's not up yet.
What?
I mean, maybe it's the internet. Yeah, the vote's not up.
Wow, Medic. Just going to call him out like that?
Oh, I'm just saying. I tried to vote. I wanted to write Odo Omne. I wanted to do Ender a solid, but vote's not up right now, it seems.
This guy.
Anyway, Law is standing by with Adam. Law, take it away.
Adam, GG once again for taking this one from an audience and, let's say, backstage perspective. It was an interesting game to watch. How was it for you?
Well, I think we were kind of in control the entire game. There's still some moment in the game where we troll a bit that we could have avoided, in my opinion. And but still promising game for us.
Can you still go into specifics about the trolling moments that you have? Because as you said, you were in control for the majority of the game. Yes. So what made it difficult specifically?
I think when we got first Nash, we got caught in bot. We didn't wait for me. And I think we were a bit too hype on the moment. We maybe don't take a deep breath, to relax a bit. And it's it's a bit hard to focus sometimes in this case,
Baron, as a whole, for me, for BDS, is always going to be something to be careful about.
Yes.
Do you agree with this? And is it something you keep in mind whenever you're starting this objective?
Well, it's the thing we try to work the most on, I would say, in practice. But and we got to Nash without losing so much. So I guess it's an upgrade, kinda.
Yeah.
Yep.
One step closer to recovery. Talking a bit more about the matchup versus Fnatic, I'm just wondering how personal this one feels. Laning against Wonder, picking your Olaf when we know the Scream stuff that happened a couple of years back and him locking Yumi. How does that feel?
Well, it's from the past, the Scream thing. I have nothing personal against Wonder. It's just I think that Olaf is a decent pick into Cassante, and I'm a guy that like to play non-conventional pick.
Yeah.
I like to try stuff. I like to create my own meta, and I try to make it work. So this is just how I play.
And I think it's really, really interesting because for the longest time that I've known you, you can flex the Olaf, you can flex the Darius, and I'm just wondering if it's the madness of an OTP or you knowing that these picks can actually function in a lot of metas.
Well, you see, the Olaf, it has been played in LPL. And with the build, the Olaf, the Hydra plus Jackshaw, so I copied from the LPL. And I think it can work pretty well because it kind of avoids every Olaf weakness in your normal build path. So
Yeah.
I think he's like a strong laner now, and especially with like a range meta with not so much mobility. Like Olaf, I think it's pretty strong champ.
Yeah, I think you defended it quite well here, Adam. We're gonna toss it to the analyst desk next because they have Crowny on the desk. Is there
All right.
anything you want to tell your AD carry about his performance today or anything?
Well, I think like my team overall has been like pretty amazing, especially on bot. Like I think there was like a bot gap overall this game. Crony Labo were like super confident going on in this matchup because they knew they were like stronger at the moment on 2v2, no doubts about it. So they came in pretty confident. They had a favorable matchup for them, and they just proved that they played better.
Yeah,
today.
things are really going well so far for BDS. Congrats, Adam.
Thank you.
And let's see what Crowny thinks about this bot gap, shall we? Take it here, Sean.
I'm sure he loves it. Crowny, Adam was saying how it was a bit of a bot gap, and he's super happy with the way you guys have been playing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone played well. Even Adam was solo killing, and we were winning pretty much every skirmish. So, besides the little oopsie we had on the first Nash, where they like caught me with arrow and then everyone just died, I think it was a pretty good game. Yeah.
It was entertaining, for sure.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It felt like when you guys lost the Baron, it like took all the momentum away.
Yeah.
So it's like you had to wait for like the next one to like actually get things going.
Yep.
I think Fnatic also got like first prio on Soul Point
Yes.
as well against you guys. So like there were a couple things that like slowed it down
Yep.
to actually have the close come through. But at the end of the day, you guys were crushing, and Adam was a freak of nature. That was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think our draft was pretty good. We kind of anticipated everything they would do. Personally, I expected them to pick Varus because I think I'm pretty comfortable on the champ and it can play with so many supports. So I was a bit surprised, but I feel like their comp is a bit hard to play because generally when you go Ashe support, you want like a AD carry that can pressure lane, or you go Ashe Heimer, which also pressures lane. But when you go Ezreal with TP, you're kind of giving up whole early game. So then we can just do, since red side, it's also easier to do Drakes because you have easy access. So then we just stack Drakes early. Our top is winning naturally. Our mid is like equal in scaling. So I don't know, the game felt pretty easy. They can only hit arrows, but that's pretty much it.
I wanted to ask you, Crowny, there's this conversation I always have in the back of my mind. Here you play against Ashe. In terms of your choice for the summoner spell, sometimes we cleanse Varuses, and then we see the heal Varuses that pressure in lane, and then they regret having no cleanse.
Yes.
What do you do in terms of your choice? What is the thought process behind the heal this game?
So my thought process is, I think if they have like 2 CCs, it's good to go cleanse. But since they only have 1 that I can dodge, and I will always rush Yomus because it makes you much faster. It gives like 60 movement speed. So even if he has TP, I can just push lanes, reset, come back to lane. I will just go heal to have way better laning and skirmishing, and I think it actually mattered a lot. Like in the first fight, I heal Heimer so he doesn't die to Azir, so then Azir dies, and overall it's a really good summoner spell to have. So sometimes you have to be a bit confident, you know, arrogant, I guess, and it worked out.
Yeah, I can remember like at least 1 or 2 times too where you just use the move speed of heal to sidestep the arrow. So it's like don't need cleanse if you're just dodging it.
Yeah, since I have Yomus as well, I was pretty confident, and they have only one CC, like Ashe Arrow, so I thought it was a good gamble. Yeah.
And are you looked up kind of the early game leads or the lane leads, I guess?
Yeah, I just wanted to like show exactly how far ahead you guys were in both bot lane and top lane. It was like it seemed like the hard winning matchups were on opposite sides, and jungle didn't even have to get like super involved towards top side. That was just sort of going down. But you can see Adam was up 28 CS. You were up 35 CS at 14 minutes, just perma pushing. I think you got all the plate spots I too.
Yeah, I got full plates because we always in cases like this, when both your side lanes win, all you need is to spot Viego, and Sheo was pretty much perma spotting him top side. So then, well, I can just hit plates. Then we knew he used TP because he had to like get a good base, and then I can just hit plates for free. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's like pretty simple game for me since like Ezra can never E in, so I have a very, very easy time in the early game, I would say. But obviously, I think me and Labra are also playing very well together, I would say. So that obviously helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cool to see that you're back in the league. Like Labrov is finding
Yeah.
new avenues in BDS. When you look at how you've been doing overall, it's clear that you have the quality to get the lane leads and get the gold leads, right? But you were
Yeah.
talking about the Baron, for instance.
Yep.
What kind of work is going into making sure that those things don't happen again?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think our early games are pretty good, but I think mid game sometimes we mess up our lane setups and then we're like matching the wrong lanes on side. Like this game, Victor was into Xanta for a long time, and then since Olaf doesn't have TP, we have to be a bit more like we have to be really careful about how we put lanes. And even against Excel, we had a big lead, and then in mid game it kind of went away, and we didn't really know how to contest Drakes into like Maoka and stuff. So I would say mid games is our biggest issue, and if we work on that, then we can take games of any team in the league. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, I would also like to add what I really liked in terms of the adaptation from Shio and Adam. I remember the game you guys had against SK, where everyone was kind of meatballing around you with champions that I
Yep.
think should create space
On
by
side,
finding like flanks and pushing
yeah.
sides.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot more
This
of
game.
that from Shio and of course Adam as well
Yeah.
on their champs. They found those flanks and they weren't just huddling around you and hoping that you kill them all.
Yeah, I mean, even against Excel, like we were like playing like Akali, Darius, and there were like 5 on mid lane trying to attack like the Lethality
Yeah,
bars, which obviously doesn't work. But I think Sheo is very good on Wukong at like finding flanks, and we knew this game if we burst Azir because he has like full squishy build like Rabadon's Void because he has to carry. We just knew if we get the opening on him, he will just die. So as long as you have one flanker, I think you will always find opportunities. So overall, I think it was pretty good, yeah.
For sure.
All right. Hopeful signs for sure from BDS. It's been a pleasure to watch. And of course, welcome back, Crowny.
Thank you, yeah. It's a weird feeling to be gone for a year and then come back. But I mean, I kind of never stopped believing that I'm good enough to play here. I think sometimes stuff can just happen like unexpected where you're off teams. As you see, even now, there's a lot of very good players not in teams or not in LEC. But yeah, I just... try to get through it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you did, and you're back, and we love to see it. Now, after the break, we're having a look at the spiciest new Spanish rivalry here in the LEC as Team Heretics is facing off against Koi. Muy fuego. Stay tuned.
Grudge match!
Grudge match. What's that?